Oh man, I'm super pumped. I'm so glad we're all liking Hades too.
Yeah,
it's been a while since we've all just been like, I love this game.
Right.
Man, I didn't even bring it up, but like one of my favorite things is how I think they've really captured the spirit of like the Greek pantheon, which is just a bunch of like shitheads.
Yeah.
Like I don't like any of the Olympians at all, and I think it's perfect.
Yeah, they're just like rich brats. That's awesome.
Oh, like
I like Dionysus. I don't know.
Oh yeah, well Dionysus is a fuck.
Hey everybody, welcome to Pursuing Pixels. This is episode number 75, and my name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with Randall Nolery.
Hey, everybody.
John Hines.
Hi there.
And DJ Mandolini.
Yo.
We got another full house again this week, and everybody but me jumped in and got their hands on the Super Mario 3D All-Stars.
Oh, that's why you were asking for someone.
I haven't picked it up yet, and I actually don't think I'm going to. In all honesty, I mean, I love the Mario games, but I just, in all honesty, I just don't see the value in them just kind of slapping these together. But you know, I was slightly tempted with the limited window on the release, but I know you guys have kind of dove in a little bit. What are you guys thinking so far?
It's in high definition now. That's a thing.
You got to
clean up a little bit.
Crisp. Yes. Go ahead, DJ.
I mean, I'm a little hesitant to jump into Sunshine because, as I've said, I do not own a Pro Controller. I only own the Joy-Cons, and Joy-Cons are shit. So I don't know if that should that may taint my experience of a game that people seem to love. So I don't know what to do.
On that subject, so you have been playing Galaxy a bit with the Joy-Cons.
A little bit.
Have you been playing them like with like the dog head controller, or are you playing them like separate?
I play with the dog head.
Ooh, okay. I went separate.
Yeah. So okay. Also, I guess on that topic, like DJ, had you ever played Galaxy before?
I did when I lived with Kevin. He let me borrow it.
I think I pushed pretty hard on you to play that one.
But did you play it with like a Pro Controller or the like original Wii nunchuck?
No, it would have been on the Wii. Yeah.
Interesting, because like I started playing Galaxy with the Pro Controller on the Switch, and it felt like the thing that I really liked about both 64 and Sunshine was that they felt really natural on the Pro Controller.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started playing Galaxy, I was like, this kind of sucks, and I don't enjoy playing it like that. So
is it just because it's not what you remember, or did it 100% have like problems? Okay.
No, I thought there was a problem. The pointer just felt so wrong to me to be on like the gyro in the middle of the Pro Controller, and then you have like that pointer star essentially always kind of centered in the middle of the screen, which drove me nuts very quickly.
Oh, so it still utilizes that with the Pro Controller?
Yes.
Because I saw a few people posting like, playing Mario Galaxy and not having to waggle my hand constantly is amazing, but I loved it on the Wii, to be honest.
God, I fucking hate it.
I really liked being able to like collect the star bits and like shoot them at enemies and stuff, and like I never really did that all that much, like the shooting of enemies, but like I liked it how it was implemented, and like just like a quick little wiggle to like get a little extra hang time on a jump. I loved how that felt.
So what they might be referring to there is that there is now a set kind of spin button where I don't know if there was before. I can't remember now.
I don't think there was. Yeah. No, I think that was strictly mapped to the
to
the waggle.
Yeah.
But navigating the menus still requires some...
that was the thing that was really mind-boggling to me, that you still had to use the gyroscope to, like, select a file.
Yeah,
and
you have to do it. Was pissing me off, to be honest.
This is what I kind of mean, that it just feels like this slap together, like it doesn't even have Galaxy 2. Like, it just seems like it's just this, like, collection of games that they're just, like... Here you go. I don't know. Here you go. But it just feels kind of like a total cash grab. And I know we talked about that a little bit when we were talking about the physical copies of, a few weeks back.
Yeah.
But are you guys feeling like the upgrade is worth it? Because I mean, I've seen these games run, like especially the GameCube and the Wii games on like those Dolphin emulators in full HD. And I mean, like Galaxy and Sunshine look gorgeous. So, I mean, is that upgrade? Are you guys feeling like that's worth it?
I mean, to me, it's not the like graphical fidelity or like it's honestly the fact that I don't have to like pull out my N64. I don't have to hook up my GameCube. I don't have to like dig out my Wii. Like having them all in one location, that's the value that I get from this collection. And like I do think like especially with 64 and Sunshine that the controls map like perfectly to the Pro Controller personally. Like I think that it feels incredibly natural and really good in a way that I really wasn't expecting it to. So like it is. But other than that, no, I don't think it's worth like it's not really a remake at all. Like it's
like a bundle.
Yeah, it's just an ease of use thing.
Yep.
Yeah, it's total accessibility for me because I don't have any of my older systems and I've never played Sunshine, so this seemed like that was what prompted me to get it after, making fun of you guys for considering getting this.
No, I mean, if I were in your shoes, DJ, I'd be grabbing it like 100% for sure. But yeah, I do have access to those games, and I think we've talked about this too. But like, I bought 64 on my Wii, and I don't think I bought it on my DS, but I bought it on the Wii U. I bought it on the 3DS, I think, and like, okay, I've just like bought this enough times. Like, I don't even really love this game all that much, and like, it's not like a comprehensive 3D collection. So like it just kind of felt like I don't need to own it, I guess. And I am veering away from my collector habits a little bit too. So that's probably part of it.
I will say too that graphically, probably what felt to me like the bigger leap was when Mario 64 ended up on Wii and Wii U, because then it's like, whoa, they like cleaned this up to like run on whatever emulators running the 64 game. On this platform, like you could tell it's at least 480p now and a lot sharper.
Yeah, to go from interlaced to progressive is like a huge jump. Where like when you're just kind of faking the upscale to 480 to 1080,
right?
It's kind of it looks great, but it's like it's just kind of sharpening things up.
Yeah.
But I remember thinking at the time, like, I used to get into it with some of my old bandmates in high school and like right after high school about like the Xbox, and I was playing the Wii. But like I remember thinking that Galaxy like really held up against some of the like, especially the early Xbox 360 games. Like even on the Wii, I was just like, this game looks amazing
for sure.
So I'm sure it looks awesome on the Switch.
Yeah,
it does. And I'll say too that the split Joy-Cons, granted, if you don't have the issues with the Joy-Cons, which most people do. But I've got newer Joy-Cons because I got that newer iteration of the Switch. I traded in my old one. So I was using those, and it felt really good to play Galaxy that way. It felt super natural to when I played it on Wii many moons ago.
I would say if you have that muscle memory, like it's almost a necessity. But like, again, like the controls map so well to the Joy-Cons, but like, my Joy-Cons do have severe like drift at this point, so Galaxy is just like not on the table for me right now. I'm not going to be playing that game.
That's such a bummer. And that it is something that like I think Nintendo has like addressed it in the sense that like you can send in your Joy-Cons and get them sent back refurbished or get them replaced or whatever, but that's still a huge hassle, especially if you're in DJ's place where like that's your only set of controllers.
Right.
So.
I mean, I should just be getting a Pro Controller. That's on me, but I am being very stubborn about it.
Yeah, Pro Controller's not cheap either, though.
No. Yeah, it's an expensive, one of the more expensive controllers. Other than that, like Xbox like Elite controller that's like $175 for some reason. Jesus. That has that weird like I don't know geometrical D-pad. Have you guys seen that controller ever?
Oh yeah,
not.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
I've taken a look at it, but yeah, I'm not going to spend $150 on just a regular controller. If I'm going to spend that much, it's going to be an arcade stick.
Yeah, we got games to buy. Well, John, I know you kind of speaking of Mario. Are you guys good on the Mario 3D stuff, or any more to add on that end?
Nah, for now.
Set for now. I'll let you know if I ever get around to Sunshine with my initial.
I want to hear.
Yeah, I'm really curious to hear your thoughts on that, DJ, from like the perspective of going in like totally fresh. Because that game has kind of gotten like a second wind almost, it kind of felt like it was like along with all the GameCube titles, kind of had like it was maligned when it came out to some degree, and then kind of got like its second rebirth, kind of like Wind Waker.
Yeah. And Double Dash.
But yeah,
I mean, I'm oddly hopeful about it. So
Nice.
yeah. But yeah, John, I know you've dipped into some of the new of the Super Nintendo stuff they've put out on the Switch recently. I know you've been playing with that Mario Picross.
Oh yeah, Mario's Super Picross.
There you go.
I should have known. Yeah, Super Nintendo.
It's on Super Famicom, baby.
I've been on a Picross kick recently, and like I had actually never played any of the earlier Picross games, so I was really excited to see what the older ones looked like. And the game is still entirely in Japanese. They released a short video on Nintendo on their social media to help people navigate the menus, which is also just another baffling thing for Nintendo that like I don't feel like
at least like embed the video on the in the I don't know in the software somehow or
like
something.
There's so many things you can do. Like it's not a widescreen game. There you can have like a guide in the others, whatever.
Oh yeah, just like a key or something. Yeah, a legend on the side.
Or just in a pause menu. Anyway,
and when we get successful,
we just
Nintendo,
came up with 6 different
solutions anymore.
But it was funny. Like I was just mashing through the menus, like just hitting the A button to try to get to some gameplay. There was a tutorial completely in Japanese that I wasn't getting any benefit from, so I was just skipping through that. But what prompted when it was going up against like the first puzzle, like I just hit the A button not knowing what the menu was prompting me to do, and it was a little hint thing that is a feature in all of the like Jupiter published Picross S series, where it'll reveal one row and one column, and it does a little roulette to choose which one's which. And like I honestly hadn't known that was a mechanic all the way from like the Super Nintendo days, so I was like, oh, that's kind of cute. So
that's
like
cool. Yeah,
I knew like right off the bat, like okay, I'm not going to be wanting that for the easier puzzles, so I was able to hit the B button on that prompt and memorize that location. But yeah, it's Picross. There's nothing new about it. It's the first, I think, level of or the level 1 collection of puzzles is like I think all Japanese characters in either katakana or hiragana. So like it's like you would just do a puzzle that's the letter A. So it's like super basic. So I'm not even at pictures yet.
I was going to ask, like, how does it incorporate a Mario theme? Have you seen much of that yet?
Haven't gotten there yet. It's just Mario's face holding a chisel, and you get your cute little like that is like I think a cute little character or added character to the game is that it makes it sound like you're actually carving rock out and you're making it. But again, it's Picross. It's a very simple game, and I love it.
It's a good game.
Nice. Are you feeling like once you like are into the game, like you're not too worried about the translation stuff?
No, because at that point, like the numbers are always going to be the same in any language, so it's not going to change, and you're just going to be able to. It's a game that is almost exclusively visual, so there isn't really any need for any language whatsoever. So yeah, it's super easy to get into.
That's cool.
Nice. Well, I guess speaking of another game that's super easy to get into that I played right before we recorded tonight, there's a game called Guardian Sphere from a developer called Pixel Boy, and they're actually a brother, like a team of brothers, Pixel Boy, and then Triple A. I don't know if it's or just Triple A, but they seem to make games together. They're working on a game that seems to be their main thing called the Mind Sword, and that's like a 2D fighting. Like they seem to do a lot of co-op stuff.
Nice.
But most of their games have been game jam related. But then they'll do like a post jam update and really kind of flesh it out. And like
that's
the
cool.
fact that this was made as a game jam, the game I want to talk about is called the Guardian Sphere, and it's like a top down vertical scrolling like Tate mode bullet hell shmup. But the main mechanic it's not like a single hit kill. You have a health bar that holds up to 10 spheres that kind of circle around you at any time, and it works essentially like Sonic the Hedgehog. Like when you take damage, you lose all your rings, and then you can go pick them up again.
Okay.
So like you have these spheres surrounding you, and you can hold up to 10. You start out with 3 at the very beginning of the game, and you can hold up to 10 at a time. But then like after you beat the first boss, now you can hold 15. And it kind of like in like the original Zelda, like when you're fully maxed out in health, then you're kind of extra powered up. But then throughout each level, and it's kind of procedurally generated just in like the enemy patterns and stuff, it's kind of the same set of 5 levels, but you'll go into these shops that you can then also spend those spheres for upgrades, just like you would in any other roguelike, where you're like either going to defense up or upgrade your projectiles, or make your projectiles larger, make them home in on enemies, or make it like a sine wave pattern, like tons and tons of different buffs. It's kind of crazy. And there's 8 different playable characters. Like it's nuts that this game was made in a game jam.
Wow.
And it's also playable in your browser, which is kind of why I mentioned that it was just like quick pick up and play. And it works like amazing. Like it plays I actually downloaded it and installed it, but it plays great on, I've tried it in both forms, and it's awesome. And each character has like a slightly different, shooting pattern.
Nice.
And it's kind of like you're more like a character like on their feet, like on the ground almost. You kind of hover when you're moving, but it's like it's got like that different perspective where you're not just like a spaceship flying through space. You're actually like a character kind of running on the ground, or again, you're kind of hovering over it. But it's just got I ended up beating it, but it's got like easy mode, hard mode, normal mode, which is what I played on. But I'm really curious to try out arcade mode, or try the hard mode, and try like arcade mode's the hard mode in some of the other games I've been playing recently. But I'm just like really pumped. Like the pixel art's awesome.
I was looking at that. I just did a Google search and with the images, and it's got that really cool like pastel pixel art style. Like, it looks really nice, actually.
The characters really pop. Yeah, it's got almost like a little bit of like a Steven Universe like vibe as far as like how the colors really. It's just like bright and vibrant in that sense. And there were a couple characters that kind of reminded me of some of the characters in Steven Universe. There's one playable character in particular that kind of reminds me of Garnet in Steven Universe, if anyone's familiar with that show. But the reason they caught my eye is because of a game called Tempo Quest, which I just played a little bit, but it's like a up to 4-player roguelike, which again, like there's not a lot of these like multiplayer when it comes to these little indie games.
Right.
But it's a 4-player roguelike game where it was made for a game jam as well, where you're like, it's top down, dungeon crawler style combat, but you're actually kind of doing like DDR inputs to execute your moves. They're just like really cool. That game too just has like really vibrant pixel art. They do a really great job of like the kind of like splash screen images or thumbnails. Like I think it's the AAA brother does like all the artwork and does some really great like just like I don't know. It just makes me want to play the games like immediately.
Right.
Just seeing like those images like kind of reminds me of Shovel Knight almost.
Nice.
Like the promo art for that. But yeah, really recommend checking out Guardian Sphere and all the other stuff from Pixel Boy.
Nice.
But yeah, I guess before we get into like the meat of this episode too, I wanted to talk about another game that DJ said he checked out some gameplay. I wasn't 100% sure I was going to talk about this game, but I've been playing some Touhou Luna Nights thanks to Xbox Game Pass again.
Yeah.
And this game is wild. And I know, Randall, you said you're a little bit familiar with like the Project Touhou series, like just like vaguely
the series of shmups, which there's just a ton of.
I think there's like close. Yeah, there's like close to 20 games I think in the series, and it's like all developed by Team Ladybug, which is like kind of this. I don't really fully understand. It seems like it's some kind of collective maybe of developers. And there's been actually a couple fighting games in the series too. But this game is more of a Metroidvania. But it brings over like a ton of like shoot 'em up mechanics. One of them being like you have like a health meter and a magic meter, or an HP and an MP. And your MP, your main attack is like you're throwing these knives, and kind of like you do with like Tower Fall or games like that where you have to kind of recollect them. Like if you miss enemies, they kind of stick in the wall.
Yeah.
And you can recollect them and refill your MP meter. But you also can like stop time at any point in time after you unlock that, after a certain point, after you get it decently far into the game. But I've played like maybe 3 or 4 hours, but you can also go into snail time by like holding down your attack that doesn't exactly stop time, but it goes into slow-mo.
Nice.
And like when you stop time, you can walk on water, but then if there's like a waterfall, you can't walk through the waterfall. So you have to really kind of juggle between like if you're in snail time or if you're fully stop time. And then again with your magic, kind of like in shmups, like if you guys are familiar with like grazing in bullet hell shmups, when you're like coming super close to a projectile or super close to an enemy, that's how you refill your magic meter in this game. But you can also refill that by like freezing time and getting super close to enemies. And also when time is frozen, it actually doesn't use your. This is so confusing, but like when time is frozen, you're actually not using your MP to attack. You're actually using time. So like the time will like that. You have kind of like 100 seconds that you can play with. But like if you're attacking a bunch, that'll just go all the way down to 0 in 2 seconds. You know, if you're just spamming the attack button. But it's just like I just unlocked the double jump. And like the boss battles are just so cool. I just beat like the 3rd boss. It's got a great sense of humor. Really like just cheeky self-referential stuff. Again, I don't know how much they're like referencing the previous Touhou games.
Yeah.
But I know they're definitely like the mechanics as far as the combat goes. Just feels like very much like they're pulling from the shoot 'em up genre. And it's just so interesting and so like it's really, really hard. Kind of like Momodora that I talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And it's definitely a game that I have to be in the mood to like, okay, I'm in the mood to kind of grind this out. And, you know, like if you beat a boss and don't get to a save point, like you have to beat that boss again.
Oh, God.
Usually I learned that usually there's a save point right before a boss. So I've learned to like kill the boss and then go back to the save point before I charge ahead. But
that's
the first
Metroidvania
boss
101 there, Kev.
I guess I don't play the good ones, John. But no, I'm really loving it. And it's, just another game on Xbox Game Pass that like, I think it came out on PC, I think like 3, 4, even 5 years ago, I think. And I kind of forgot about it. It was on my radar a long time ago and it just popped up and I was like, oh shit, forgot about this game and really loving it. It's got like these, 32-bit style. It's like a very much like a PlayStation 1 era aesthetic as far as on every level, the music, the pixel art, everything.
Yeah, it looks also very influenced by Symphony of the Night.
Yeah, it's very much like the riffing guitars on the soundtrack. Yeah, they're going for like the rock and Castlevania stuff for sure. Yeah. Well, before we get into the final game that we're all gonna dive into,
the final
tonight,
meat,
DJ. Yeah, the final meat. I know, DJ, you kind of wrapped up your time with Doom Eternal.
Yeah, just a little snack for you guys. I think I was like a couple levels out from the end. But man, that game, like, it gives you such a feeling of like, I am very powerful and I can also die really quickly.
Yes.
Like, just the BFG you always get in the Doom games, and like the sword you get near the end of this, it's like you can pretty much take out anything, but I still am like very still very aware of like how quickly I can die because it's
glass cannon.
Dude, yeah, exactly. That's what I should have referred to it as.
No, that's a great feeling though when you're like on the edge like that.
Yeah, and just the final mission was very grand and big and like what it feel like it needed to be. So it was a really good ending. And then I actually checked out the multiplayer, which I hadn't done for like the previous Doom game. And so like I don't know if you guys had played any Doom multiplayer before or
No.
Well, so I don't know how similar this is to, how it's been done in the past, but like the battle mode that they have is it's one human like Doom Slayer versus like two demon bosses. And like they're weaker than the Slayer, but the Slayer needs to kill them within 20 seconds of each other, or else the one that had died comes back at half health.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
You get to use like all the moves that, they used against you in the game. Like they summon minions and do all their special things. And it is, I was getting my ass kicked. Which role?
That's saying something, because we've obviously like bowed at DJ's feet a few times on this podcast, but DJ is like easily one of the best gamers I know. Like any game we're competitive in, he takes us out handily. So the fact that you're struggling,
shooters are not my strong suit, actually. So
that's fair.
I'm not a fair representative of that community.
So you were playing as the Doom guy against the monsters?
I'm assuming? I mean, you can choose. So I was like, I need to win as either before I can put this away. So I was able to win not too difficultly with the demons, and it's a best of 5 series. So
okay.
But yeah, it was one of those experiences where I'm like looking online, like Doom Eternal Battle Mode is hard, just trying to find people to like make me feel better that they're feeling the same way as me. But yeah, I guess the Slayer does have it a little difficult. I mean, it's hard to kind of like manage all that's going on. But I won one game as a Slayer, and that is when I deleted the game.
Jesus.
Deleted it because you felt like, hey, I need to get this like out. I need to make sure I don't get sucked into this game, or
I couldn't see myself getting too sucked in, and it was just like, I need to, me, Kevin, I need to end on a win. So that's what I did. I ended on a win. It was actually what I did with PUBG also.
Nice.
I got my second win after like another week of trying, and I was just like, okay, bye. And then I got into the meat of this discussion.
Yes, why don't we stick around in hell for a little bit longer? And this is why we're all here tonight, really. And I know, DJ, you specifically asked me not to pass it to you since you beat this game already, because which is no surprise to any of us. Wow. But we've all been playing Hades, which is the newest game from Supergiant. And I think we've talked about, I don't think we've ever talked about Bastion on the podcast before, but I know
we've
John
brought it up in the context of other Supergiant games.
Yeah. Yeah. And Transistor was John's resolution game from our holiday episode last year. And he's talked about it briefly on the podcast, a couple months ago or something. But yeah, Hades just came out on Switch probably a month ago or so by the time this episode comes out. But I have been spending, most of my gaming time this week, even though I've mentioned a couple other games. I've definitely, been spending most of my time playing Hades. But I think you were the first one to just kind of plow straight into this, John. So why don't you take the lead here?
Yeah, so I'm a big Supergiant fan. I think more so than Kevin and DJ. I think we've talked a little bit about how I think you use the term superficial to describe Bastion.
I've only played Bastion, and I love the aesthetic. I love the vibe, the narration. I just thought the combat by the time I got to the end of the game, I was waiting for it to be over, and it's a pretty short game. And I loved it, but I was bored by it, I guess, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of get it, but also I think that Supergiant really excels at good combat systems. I think that they do a lot of varied gameplay types very well, and that's what my main attraction to all of their games is that I will, I'll have my set skill tree or whatever weapon that I'll upgrade and have all the different upgrades on that I'll be focusing on and tailor my gameplay towards. And then, there'll be a different challenge or something. And I was like, okay, well, I'll try out this other gameplay type or action type. And I think that they're really good feeling. They're almost all of their games that I've played are the similar isometric top down view of an action game. And I think that between Bastion, Transistor has a really good freezing time to make it a pseudo turn-based combat system, and I really like that. But this is just pure because it's a roguelike, they can kind of play fast and loose with, how difficult it is, and like kind of get you into situations where you can get really overwhelmed really quickly. Mm-hmm. But
and fast is the right word to use, because this game rips.
Yes. And that's one of my favorite things, was that, like, a trope that I think a lot of roguelikes will do is that they'll give you a really like cookie cutter, like bare bones first run where you're expected to die basically as soon as the core mechanics are introduced. So like you'll learn your attack, you'll learn movement, you'll learn maybe a special ability, and then there will be like a scripted death that will set you back to 0, and then like the real game will start. And I was very happy with how long I was able to play the like first run in Hades. I thought it was just a regular run. Like, you're getting your boons from the gods, which are special abilities that alter gameplay. And like, I was able to go, like, I was playing carefully once I got like below 50% health, but I kept clearing rooms until I got to like the first mini boss, and then that took me out, and then like the game started. But I don't know. I really like, I think the way that they incorporated their typical storytelling mechanics in a Supergiant game into a roguelike, I think is flawless.
Yeah, I mean, I think the storytelling, melds really well with the gameplay. Like, it makes sense why you're, restarting your run. Like, it makes sense, like, that you're coming back, like, you know, and making progress. It's like, okay, it's because you're in hell, and like when you die, you're going back to hell. So
you're trying to battle your way out.
And your father Hades is like setting this up to keep you from escaping, and it's such I love it.
And I love how you can kind of like, you don't have to I'm engaging with the cutscenes and whatnot to some degree, but you guys know how I play games.
Yeah.
And you don't really have to like listen to every little conversation. You can just kind of get right into the game pretty quick.
You can, but I will say the voice acting is pretty great.
It's really good.
I'm pretty iffy on it, man. And I've loved it in their previous games. I've only really played Bastion, but I'm not a huge fan. I think it's great for some characters, but I think some are really off to me personally.
I think it's flawless.
I think it's really good too.
I think there's like too much effects on some of the characters or something. I don't know. Really? There's something that really just takes me out of the game.
I feel like they're more casual than most voice acting you get in games, like especially the main character. But
I love the main character. I'm more talking like when you're like in the hub world and you're kind of talking to the different gods. I just think some of them
just hate Dusa and Hypno. Just come clean. We know that those are.
Hypno's one of my. I don't love Hypno, but I think like Nyx is one of the characters I like least. As far there's just two. There's like this just extra, like, I don't know. It just feels excessive, I guess, the like reverby effects and stuff.
But it makes sense. Yeah.
I'm nitpicking. I love this game. I'm nitpicking. And I should even say with Bastion, like, I think this is the thought that I was going to try to mention earlier. But I love, like, Bastion kind of, I felt like I got comfy with, like, the weapons that I liked, and I just kind of stuck with them, and it didn't really incentivize me to switch. Where, like, I don't even know what the incentive to switch in Hades is. I think I just like a lot more of the weapons. I'm not a huge fan of the ranged weapons, but, like, I love the sword, I love the spear, I love the shield, and I love the fists. Like, I switch between all 4 of those weapons pretty much run to run, like, whatever I'm in the mood to switch between. And I don't feel that with a lot of games, even with like my favorite roguelikes. I kind of like hope for, depending on how the structure of the game goes, I kind of hope for my favorite things. I like that you can pick, like, I want to go for this, and the game does feel totally different with each weapon.
Hey, here's the incentive to switch, Kevin. On each run, there is one of the weapons gives like a bonus to the amount of darkness you can accumulate. So the way I would do it is I'm always just picking whatever that one is, because despite how like, varied the weapons are, they are all fun.
I agree 100%.
Even in there. And like,
I'm not a huge fan of the ranged weapons. I really don't like either of them, to be honest. But
I like
but
the
love
arrow.
the other four.
I'm not as keen on the like repeater.
I just unlocked that, so I just tried it once, and I was like, I'm just gonna go back to my staples. But I guess I shouldn't really speak too soon on that.
but
I didn't like the arrow the first run, but the second run, I'm like, ooh. And I played it again because I got that incentive on the arrow again. I'm like, all right, let's give it another shot. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. I'm into it. I need to move a lot more than I'm moving right now. But yes, I get it. And I was starting to see some success, and I was into it.
And even with like those dataless hammers that you can use to upgrade your weapons, they can like pretty dramatically shift how your weapons work.
Totally.
Oh, the buffs are amazing in this game. Like,
great.
there's so much variety. Every run feels so fresh. I love it. I love it.
And that's like another like strength of Supergiant Games is that they will constantly give you things to just completely alter the way that core mechanics of the game work. Like when DJ, you were bringing up the dataless hammers, like there was one, and like the fact that they're randomized because it's a roguelike also like means that you can't actively like choose what you get, and you kind of have to react to what you get. But there is one that, man, if I was given the option, I would pick every single time. It changed for your fists, your uppercut, to a like siphoning one. So if you landed a killing blow with an uppercut, you regained health. And like,
yes, please.
I just didn't attack with like basically anything else for the rest of the run. And like, I made so much progress with that. It felt so good. Ugh.
Yeah, another thing that I think they do amazingly in this game is like all the different types of currencies that you get. Like they're used in different ways. You know, you get the keys that unlock the weapons, but then when you get a little further into the game, they kind of like expand the skill tree in your like mirror in your bedroom where you can like kind of unlock different buffs that are kind of per every run, you know, permanent upgrades. And I just think they do such a nice job of like, I don't know, balancing your money and stuff like that. I don't know. I just feel like I'm just always engaged in the game, you know?
Speaking of the mirror, I realized this like after I'd beaten the game. Did you notice that like you can toggle like for each line item on the mirror, there's like an alternate version of it?
Yes. How did you beat the game? Like, how many runs did you do before you beat this?
Wait, what do you mean? What do you mean alternate line item?
So like on for like each like item on the mirror, like on
you unlock it. It's not right off the bat. Like it's a perk you get later.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Spoilers.
Yes. But yes, you get the option. Like there are variants like among the like persistent upgrades that are run to run that you get in the mirror. Then there's also like upgrades to your weapons that you use, specifically Titan blood, in order to unlock. Like,
I haven't even gotten into that yet.
It took me forever to figure that one out too.
Oh my god! But like that is so Supergiant. Like it is just skill tree after skill tree after skill tree, and I really like the way that they do it. I mean, they do it similar in all of their games where like, you know, they'll be scripted like, oh, after you reach this chapter, you'll unlock this thing in Transistor or in Bastion. But I think it works a lot better in a roguelike setting because, you know, you do need kind of, you know, 10 runs under your belt before you understand the core mechanics for them to like really expand it like that further out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but like you said, though, John, like even though you're saying like, oh, it took 10 runs to kind of get into the flow, like it really, like I had the same experience. Like my first run, I was like in the game. I didn't feel like, oh, here's my tutorial run. Like I was just playing the game.
They do a great job introducing you in that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just feels so natural.
Yeah. What about you, Randall? I know you haven't had a ton of time to dig in, but like what's your experience been like just kind of scratching the surface, and what's your previous experience with the Supergiant stuff?
Not a ton of previous experience. I played probably like halfway through Bastion in the first like year or two after that came out, and I've always had my eye on Supergiant Games.
They're always eye catching.
Oh
like
yeah,
it's undeniable.
Yeah, haven't gotten around to playing any of the other ones yet, although I really want to play Pyre.
That and Transistor. Like I gotta, after playing this, even Bastion, I'm like, I gotta go back.
Same.
I want to go back to Transistor. Like I just played.
Yeah.
But no, I haven't had as much time as you guys, but like immediately this game pretty much grabbed me. And I don't know that in like an action roguelike type of game has grabbed me that way since I played Dead Cells. It was giving me, obviously not the same type of game, but giving me some of those vibes as far as just like an action-y roguelike, just like get in the mix of it type of game and just like run after run type of thing. And I was really into that. Felt great. The other thing too that I don't think we really talked about that I noticed, I think I was reading an article or something about Hades, and they had a good point where after every run, they're also giving you just little morsels of story that they're kind of interweaving there. And no, like roguelikes don't typically do that very effectively. And I feel like Hades does, and it's to its credit there too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and not only that, but just the theme in general, like how each god is kind of tied to, I know you were saying, John, too, like where you're getting kind of these power-ups like thrown at you, and you don't get choice in that, but like each power-up, you get kind of a choice of one of 3 buffs,
Yeah.
So I love that, like, even though it's out of your control, it's in your control, and like a lot of the rooms, once you clear them, it's like you can see what the reward is going to be at the end of that room. Am I going to get keys at the end, or am I going to get gems, or am I going to get whatever, the dark matter or whatever, those purple tears, whatever they're called, or am I going to get or am I going to meet Poseidon and give me some kind of water buff? And like even those like different elemental buffs are so cool. Like I love all the lightning buffs, and we haven't even talked about the cast mechanic, which like I love the cast mechanic. And once I got into the, like, now that I unlocked further tiers in the skill tree in the mirror, where like, so I can carry up to 3 different casts, which is like this like gem essentially that you can just like throw, this like blood diamond,
right,
that you can throw at other enemies. But like now I can hold up to 3 at the start of my run, and when they're like when you hit an enemy, like a more powerful enemy with them, it kind of gets stuck in them or they hold on to it. But like now when I have enemies hit with that, like I do more damage when they're like kind of holding on to that cast, I guess. And I love that, like, it's just like, oh, here's the boss, or here's whatever. I'm just going to fill it and then just go to town. And I don't know. I haven't.
There's an extra element there. It just feels good.
And it just enough strategy to like the action pack, because I'm mashing my controller like I have not in a long time, in the best way. Like it's very strategic, but like I am mashing my controller like Mario Party on 64 style.
I was going to say there's one of the like lines that you can swap for a variant in the mirror is, instead of having a stock for your cast, has it on a cooldown.
Okay.
And that is that's one that I've really enjoyed, because then like I have that one maxed out, so I think it regens every 3 seconds. So I'm just launching that, and
you don't have to reabsorb it.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah, because you have to kind of like Towerfall, you got to like recapture them after the fact.
But then like again, like there's one of the power ups that you can get for one of the weapons with like Titan's Blood is like, oh, it will dislodge like the cast that you spend. And I'm like, well, no, I want the cast to stay in. So like I'm like, okay, my play style means that like I won't go after that upgrade tree. And I'm like, oh, love it. Just
that's awesome.
Even the changes to the cast, because like last time I was playing last night, like I was getting like these smoke bombs that I could throw. They were called something else, but they're kind of like smoke bombs that would kind of confuse enemies or something. And like I was getting these like spinning blades that I could throw, but had the same problem where I was like, oh, but it's not sticking in the enemies. That kind of sucks. But DJ, I know at the top we kind of mentioned that you were able to beat this game, and I you know, that even after you beaten it, I know like you've mentioned a couple of games today, like, oh, I beat it, or I finished the multiplayer, or I won a campaign, or I won online, and like I'm done. I deleted the game. So like I've seen you still diving into this game after completing it. Is it that you're just going for 100%, or what's keeping you coming back in? Yeah,
I will,
to keep it as spoiler free as possible.
I will keep it spoiler free. But I will say that I do plan on 100%ing this game, which I think is going to take me a while.
Because there are some like hard modes. There's a god mode. I saw some different things in the menus.
Oh, I didn't see that. I've seen, I've seen some ways to like alter the difficulty, but I didn't see that specifically. Maybe I have to keep an eye out on that. But I mean, I'm trying to like clear all the quests on that sheet in your room.
Okay.
And oh man, like there's just so like you basically have to do every type of thing. Like you have to get every type of boon, use every weapon, like. But I think it's just like the gameplay, and like it's one of those rare instances for me where I'm compelled by both the gameplay and the story. Like I don't know, I've always been like kind of a sucker for like Greek mythology stuff. So
yeah.
I don't know, like this was just easy for me to like get invested in. And like this isn't a spoiler, but I will say that like even after I beat the game, that's not the end of the story. There's still more that I'm like uncovering. So it's
cool.
I was gonna say, because like it's not scripted per se, but like I feel like there's like I don't know how many runs you completed, but like
6.
What are you talking about? What on earth?
Fuck you.
I've done 30.
Yeah, I've done about 20. I think last time I checked, I was just under 20.
That's right about when I did my first.
That's when you beat it? God damn it. I was like hoping that you maybe just spent way more time.
Dude, I'm like this is bringing me back to like, when we were playing Enter the Gungeon for the first time and
I
like
was having
racing
this.
it. Yeah, just that race to be like, oh, I want to be the first to beat this.
Who's going to beat it first, especially because our buddy Glenn's playing it too. And he like DJ, our buddy Glenn and I were like really hooked into Enter the Gungeon for a while and like really like who's going to beat it first and which characters, who's going to 100% it. So yeah, I feel so the same way, DJ, like so sucked in. And I had Glenn texted me at some point. He was like, hey, do you think Hades is hard? I was like, oh, I'm kind of nervous to respond because I don't know if he's saying that because he thinks it's easy or if he's saying it because he's getting his ass kicked. I was like, I'm getting my ass whooped. I've gotten to like the third, like the mini boss of the third level, I think, is as far as I've made it.
God, I cannot believe you, DJ. God. Okay,
so you asked me how many I did.
I know.
2 or 6. What's the follow-up?
The follow-up was just like I've seen a lot of story, and I think that is almost like, again, it's not like predetermined, like after X many runs, like this is how far you will be in the story, but like it is very reactive to the things that I accomplished during the run. Like,
yes.
Yeah.
Hypno almost always, or I was just gonna say, like Hypno almost always like will refer to the exact enemy or boss that kills you, and like
that's cool.
That changes every single time that you're there, and then like there's various conversations that other characters will have that you can like progress throughout the game. But like, yeah, if you beat it in 6, like I don't know how much of that you're getting.
It's incredible, like how many scenarios they scripted for, and I super appreciate that. Like
even when
it
you
immerses
get
me so much more.
Like if you get a boon like from one god and then you meet with or you talk to another god, the god will reference is like, I see you've already met like so and so. It's like, Jesus Christ, this is like I haven't gotten really a recycled line yet. Which is unbelievable.
Cool. Yeah, that's really cool.
There's a ton of dialogue, and it's all 100% voice acted.
Yeah,
which is really cool. I know I was kind of dogging on that at the beginning, but like one thing I will say too is like I'm loving the kind of arcadey nature of the gameplay. And me being me, I'm kind of bypassing the story for the most part. I'm able to do that. I'm not really like, I mean, I'm paying attention to enough to like know the new mechanics, but like. You don't really have to be so sucked in. It's nice that it has that, but like I love that I can just dig into the gameplay and not be bogged down by that if I don't want to be.
Right.
I appreciate that a bunch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The only other thing I'll say that is impressing me so far is how well this thing runs on Switch. It runs great.
Yeah, because it is chaotic. Like we were talking about the button mashing, but I mean, there's a lot going on. Tons of enemies, tons of projectiles. It gets into that like bullet hell kind of territory as far as like what's the chaos on the screen.
Yeah.
So, it runs great.
The only time I noticed anything like approaching like a slowdown would be when you enter a room and it's one of those like you have to survive 45 seconds and you just get a shit ton of stuff thrown at you. I think I think in one of those I just decided to I had my shield, so I just got in a corner and just held the shield up the entire time.
Whatever works.
So I wasn't clearing any enemies, so I probably contributed a little bit to that problem.
Elite strat.
Oh,
There you go.
I mean,
that's awesome.
Although I have like quote unquote beat the game, I mean, there is more story, and I suspect there will be more gameplay wise. Like I don't know, but I'm curious. I'm curious. Mm-hmm. There is one boss that I haven't beaten. If that.
Okay.
And I'm sure there's plenty of enemies and other, like, because there, I think, are at least two mini bosses per level or stage or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like, I bet there's plenty of enemies you haven't seen, so you have to fill out your codex.
I do.
Yep.
Your Pokedex.
Got to build relationships with everyone.
Yes.
Give them nectar and ambrosia.
Wait, hey, how many people have you given nectar to? You don't even have items. How did you beat this game?
What do you mean I don't have items?
Like,
wait, DJ, you were saying you beat it 6 times already, right?
Yeah. God. What's
okay?
Unreal.
My initial understanding was that you beat it in 6 runs.
No.
Okay. Yes. Okay. See,
I thought that at first too. Yeah, and then I heard you mention that earlier, John, and I was like, no, I think he beat it 6 times, which is even more fucked up.
My tutorial run, I beat it. I beat it 5 more times.
Oh man, that's good.
Hades loves me. Like I got the secret ending.
No, but I definitely can't wait to play more Hades and talk about it more with you guys because, I feel like we're going to be digging into this one for a while.
It's awesome.
Yeah. Did anybody else have anything more to add on that before we wrap things up tonight, or good to call it there?
I will say, I know I've been hogging this for a bit, but I'm going to hog it some more. I will make a bold claim and say that I will rank this game above my 2019 game of the year, which was 20XX. I will confidently,
there you go.
Yes, this overthrows that and is
okay. So you're loving this game, not just liking it.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Okay, heck yeah.
It's awesome.
I think we're all, maybe, I don't know if we're all right in that same category, but I think we're all pretty comfortable saying we love this game as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, very much so.
Heck yeah. Which is, I'm just super pumped. Yeah. So we'll talk about this one some more, I'm sure, in the future. But for now, I think we can wrap it up for this week, guys. And as always, you can find us on the internet at pursuingpixels.com. We're on Twitter. We're on Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. I've been streaming, actually, not talking, but just playing some gameplay on Twitch recently, too.
Nice.
But yeah, we're on the internet, and we got links in the episode description. So just scroll down to the bottom there and check that out. Come hang with us on Discord. And until next week, we will catch you next time. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Boy.
Bye.
You talking about Big Baby? Anthony Big Baby Davis?
Nah, that was...
Oh, that was Glenn Davis.
Glenn Davis is Big
Davis.
Baby. Glenn,
Big Baby.
Don't call me Big Baby, Big Baby Davis.
I hated him so much when he was on the Celtics. Yeah.
Oh, God. The Celtics were just not likable. But
No, they were the worst.
I also kind of liked them for that. But then every year after they were talking about themselves like they were a dynasty when they won one championship.
Yo.
Yeah, that's why I hated them. They were talking about themselves like they were a dynasty just when they were in the running. That's like if Donovan McNabb was running his mouth back in the day, we're fucking number one, man. It's yeah, you made it to the NFC championships, but
Yeah. That don't count, buddy.
Nope.
anything's possible.
KG's incredible in NBA 2K, but anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, he was incredible in real life too. But
He really was. Same reasons, because he's just a defensive fucking monster.
yes.
I thought you were going to say he was incredible in Uncut Gems.
He was really good in that too, actually.
I heard he's great.
Yeah.